Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha. So we're continuing on with our discussion of Hari Bhakti Vilas. We're in the 8th Vilas. So we just finished making the food offering, which is near the end of the worship, the external worship of the Lord. And after the food offering, there's also the offering of small amounts of the prasadam, the Lord's prasadam, to his different devotees. That is called Balidanam. So we dealt with that last time. Now we're probably going to get a Mahatmyam, the glories of doing that. So let's have a look at the text. So last time we had this, we had these texts about offering the Mahaprasadam and how it's recommended that we do this Balidanam to Vishvaksena, to the different associates and consorts of the Lord. And it can be done after showing the mirror to the Lord or before. So now we have the Balidanam Mahatmyam, the glories of distributing Mahaprasadam. So this is the 8th Vilas, text 218 to 219 from Narasimha Purana, about the glories of distributing Mahaprasadam. It says, the demigods become very pleased with the devotee who offers the Lord's remnants, such as flowers, rice, right? Rice could mean the akshata, rice that we use in the puja, the colored rice, or it could also mean the food that we offer, that rice, and so on to other devotees. Indeed, they are so pleased, the demigods are so pleased that they award him sufficient wealth and a healthy life. So now, after offering the food and after doing the Balidanam, then it says, text 220 to 221, Atha, another topic, Jala Gandushyadi Arpanam. Arpanam means to offer. Jala, Gandusha means a small amount of water that you can keep in your hand, like a spoonful of water. Right? So offering water for washing the Lord's mouth. After you eat, you have to rinse your mouth. So that is called a Gandusha. Here it's called a Jala Gandusha. Jala means water. A water for rinsing the mouth, right? So first, one should clean the offering area nicely. So when we make an offering, we're going to place the plate on the altar or on a table called a chowki, usually a little square table, right? In front of the seat where we offer the Lord a seat to sit and take prasadam, to take the bhoga offering. So afterwards, we have to clean that. We have to clean up that area. We have to clean the table. We have to clean the altar where we place the offering. And then pour 3 spoonfuls of water in front of Lord Krishna for washing his mouth. What we're doing basically is offering like Archmanu, right? Okay. Then one should offer him a toothpick made of dry grass. Right? Now here it's saying Danta Shodhanam, for cleaning his teeth. Yeah? So this should be followed by again offering some water for washing the Lord's hands and legs. So it's got here Punachmaniyam, right? Again, we offer Achmana, Datva. Datva means to offer. Shri Panayo, Panayo means the hands. And Shri Mukasya means the mouth or the face, right? Marjanayam Shukam Datva. Yeah. And it says here, Sarvani Angani Marjayet. We should clean all of his limbs. So this is followed by again offering some water for washing the Lord's hands and legs. Finally, one should offer a clean towel and wipe the Lord's mouth or face, hands, and legs.
Can I ask a quick question? Sure. Do you know anything more about this dried grass toothpick?
No.
No. Okay. All right.
No, it doesn't really say. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe if we looked in the commentary, I'm not sure. Anyway, text 222. I mean, it could be just like toothbrush sort of thing that we offer in the morning, dantakasta, but I'm not. It's not really explained totally. So thereafter, I've never really seen this being done. So thereafter, one should change the Lord's clothes and then offer him an asana padya achmaniya once again, like before. So what's interesting here is that unlike the method of worship that we normally see in North India or even in South India, here we have the system. It seems to be a system of different asanas, different sections, just like the Sri Vaishnavas do. In the Sri Vaishnava system of puja, there are 6 asanas. There's, first of all, mantrasana, then shnanasana, then vastrasana, alankarasana, then bhojasana. So this is the bhojasana. Then punamantrasana, then paryankasana for sleeping. Okay, so these different sections, 6 sections in the worship. And each section you offer padyagya achmaniya like that, and asana, of course. Okay, so then text 223, one should offer sandalwood powder and agaru powder. Does it say powder? It says churna. Yeah, churnadi. Okay, right, to the Lord, so that he can rub his hands with it. So if you've got wet hands, you've just taken the meal, maybe you used your hands to eat the meal, and you've got sort of some of the ghee from the food is on your hands still. So because maybe there's no soap in those days or whatever it is. So what you would do is you would first of all wash with water to get all the particles off, and then take some sandalwood powder, agaru powder, and rub your hands with those things. It would make them smell nice, and it would get rid of the final oiliness from the food. So after this, one should offer him a mouth freshener, such as cloves, camphor, betel nuts, and tulsi leaves. Okay, so the mukhavasa is a mixture of spices. We're going to be talking about that in a minute. And you can also offer what we call pan, which is there's a leaf, and there's certain ingredients that go inside, including betel nuts. And this is often offered after a meal to chew or to freshen the breath as a mouth freshener after eating. Just in the same way as modern people, they will eat after dinner mints or something like that. It refreshes the mouth. Okay, so now we have a Mahatmyam, the glories of that. So text 224, 225, Mukhavasa Mahatmyam, the glories of offering a mouth freshener to the Lord. From the Vishnu Dharmottara in the 3rd Kanda, we have this statement. By offering betel nuts, nutmeg, leaves of nutmeg, cloves, kakola, which is a berry, right? Kantapala, I'm not sure what that is, and betel leaves to the Lord, one will be transferred to the heavenly planets, where he will enjoy a life of good fortune after receiving a very handsome body. Now, in 226 from the Skanda Purana, it mentions Lord Krishna remains satisfied with a person who offers him with love and devotion camphor, puga, and betel leaves. So puga, pugi pala in Sanskrit, is the betel nut. Betel nut and usually it's shaved or it's broken up into little pieces, so it makes it easier because it's a very hard nut. It's very difficult. You can't eat the whole nut by itself. You have to make it into small pieces, or you have to shave it into very thin slivers. So pugipala. You can also buy it already spiced with saffron and mint and different things, and shredded into either little shoestrings or into flat thin discs. So it's called pugipala. So now we're going to talk about Purna Gandharpanam, offering sandalwood paste again to the Lord, right? We offered sandalwood paste previously in the puja. Now we're going to offer sandalwood paste again. So Ata Purna means again. Gandharpanam. Arpanam means to offer. Ganda, if you remember, we had a couple of different definitions of ganda. It certainly means sandalwood paste, but it can be meant sandalwood paste mixed with aguru and some other things also sometimes. So text 227, 228. One once again apply a variety of fragrant substances to the body of the Lord. At this time, one may decorate his forehead with tilak. So after you, this seems to be saying decorate the Lord's face with tilak. So maybe if you wash the Lord's face, maybe his tilak came off and you're going to again offer kasturi tilaka, musk tilak, or whatever, some fragrant type of tilak to the Lord. Apart from this, one should smear various types of fragrant and natural cosmetics on the Lord's forehead, as well as other parts of his body. One can also decorate the limbs with the beautiful marks of tilak. Okay, so it definitely says here Urdhva Pundrani. So Urdhva Pundrani it tends to mean this vertical tilak that the Vaishnavas wear. So if we should definitely offer this to the Lord. So text 229 regarding meditation. This verse is found in the Agamas. The Lord's body should be decorated with tilak. His forehead, chest, two sides, 2 arms, and throat should be adorned with enchanting tilak. Right. So we know that there are 12 parts of the upper body where tilak is applied, and we should also apply this to the deity in those places. Text 230 to 231, and this, I guess, is still from the Agamas. Exactly what Agama we don't know. One should decorate Lord Krishna with various garments, such as a shirt, and various ornaments, such as a turban and a waistband, right? Which would be like a angavastram. Let's see in the Sanskrit if we've got any. Vastrani, Suvitrani, okay. Yep, according to his taste, a devotee should decorate the deity with an opulent crown and various kinds of beautiful necklaces or haras. So now we have text 232, Ata Maha Rajopachararpanam. So Ata, again, we're starting a topic. Maha means great. Maha Raja means it can either be Maharaja Upachararpanam or it can be Maharaja Upachararpanam, right? So it can be it can be the great one, or it can be for the Maharaja, for the king. So offering articles to the Lord that are befitting a king or a Maharaja. So even the word Raja means king in Sanskrit. So a Maharaja is like an emperor. He's a greater king. He's a big king. So after that, one should offer the deity things that are befitting a king. So normally kingly worship, this type of Rajopachara or Maharajopachara, as it's mentioned here, is something that we do in the temple, not necessarily in the house, but in the temple is like the palace, and the deity is like the king of that palace. So after that, one should offer the deity things befitting a king, such as a flag, a chamara, an umbrella, and decorative shoes. This should be followed by showing him a mirror. So if we didn't show the mirror before, we should show him the mirror now that he's got a crown on, proper tilak on, and we've shown him a different flag and umbrella. Now you can get, actually in Kumbakonam, you can buy these puja sets where they have a metal flag, a metal mirror, a metal umbrella. In fact, there's one village in Kerala which specializes in making these metal mirrors, which are just as good as any glass mirror that you've ever seen. You can see your face in it. So these sort of things are offered as items in the deity worship here. Again, text 233 from the Vishnu Dharmotara, it says one will become a king himself, right, if he offers the Lord royal symbols. Now, what are the royal symbols again? Flag, umbrella, chamara, and here it says decorative shoes. Okay, these are the items. Okay, so there's no question of an argument in this regard. So if one offers royal symbols according to the time and place. So now we're going to talk about the glories of the chamara. What is a chamara? A chamara is a whisk. It's a whisk which is made from a handle, but also the tail of a yak or a buffalo. They have the tail of it, and sometimes it's black, and sometimes it's been bleached white, right? But it's used by royal personages. The servants will swish it in front of the person or very close to the person, even touching the person sometimes, to keep off the flies. It keeps the flies off. Doesn't provide as much air for cooling as a fan. If you have a fan or a punkah, right, that is a flat, either made of peacock feathers, or it could be just made of palm leaves, or it could be just metal or wooden or made of bamboo, and just waved about like this. That makes air, a lot of air. That's the cooling off. But here we're talking about the chamra. The chamra is a yak tail or a buffalo tail hair whisk for keeping off flies. Also, it's a symbol of a king. So the glories of offering a chamra. So he says here, by offering a chamra or by fanning the Lord with a chamra, one will become rich in this very life. Such a devotee will become free from all sins, and after death he will go to the heavenly planets. So the glories of offering an umbrella, right? So they have these umbrellas. It can be a big umbrella, or it can be just like a symbolic small umbrella, like that you get as part of these puja sets. So chatrasya means of the umbrella. Mahatmya, the glories of offering the umbrella. Okay, so a person who offers an umbrella to the Lord, which is made of costly cloth and is decorated with fringe, and that has a golden handle, will himself be surrounded by hundreds and thousands of umbrellas that are carried by the demigods. Such devotees are glorified by the demigods as they enjoy the company of their forefathers. Good. Okay, so an umbrella is also considered to be a symbol of a very rich or powerful man. Okay, in Thailand, the king of Thailand is the only one who's allowed to have 7 concentric white umbrellas. So if you have anybody can have an umbrella, but if you have these 7, it's there, I think, in Cambodia also. The king is the only one who can have these, has an umbrella which has 7 tiers on it, getting smaller and smaller, like that, and has a 7-tier umbrella. So that's King of Thailand, King of Cambodia used to have 7-tier, still does in Thailand, 7-tier umbrella, and nobody else can have that. So it's this white type of 7-tier umbrella is considered to be a royal status. So this also comes from the Vedic civilization from India, right? Because the Indian civilization moved across Asia and influenced all of these places in Asia. So elsewhere in the same literature, I think we were talking about I'm not sure, but it looks like we were talking about Vishnu Dharmotara here, which we got a lot of information about flowers and things from in the last class. So it also says in text 237, O best of the Brahmanas, those who offer an umbrella to the Lord will become kings in this world, and they will not have to suffer at the hands of their enemies. Such devotees can easily defeat their opponents in battle. Text 238. Those who offer shoes to the Lord become qualified to board a celestial airplane, right? Because you need shoes to walk. So the idea is when you offer the ability, something to aid the Lord in his walking, then we also get to go on a trip to Vaikuntha. They will be as influential as the demigods, and they will be able to wander about as they choose. So these are all the benedictions coming from offering shoes to the Lord. Now it comes the glories of offering a flag to the Lord, the Dwajasya Mahatmam. Dwaja means flag, right? Jaya Dwaja means a victory flag, right? Different people had flags, and on the flags are different symbols. So like Shiva will have a flag with Nandi on it. Vishnu has a flag with Garuda on it. Arjuna has a flag with Hanuman on it. If we see if you ever see the picture of the chariot of of Arjuna's chariot. Lord Krishna is the driver, and Arjuna is sitting in the back. And there's what we call the Kapi Dwaja. The Kapi means a monkey. So it's Hanuman is on the flag. Okay, so different kings would have different symbols on their flags, right? These are called victory flags, Jaya Dwajas or Jaya Pataka. Another name is Jaya Pataka. Jaya Pataka means victory flag. Jaya Dwaja means victory flag. Pataka. Today in modern Hindi, the word Pataka means firecracker. Okay, but it used to mean it's a show. It's something to show. You know, it's a flag. Jai Pataka or Jai Dwaja. Okay, so one who offers a beautiful flag to Lord Vishnu will become prominent, just like a flag in human society, right? So this is the symbolism behind it. Is just as the flag is very prominent, we put a flag up so that people see the flag and they know, you know, the personality behind the flag. If we see the American flag, or if we see some nation's flag, or if we see some special flag indicating a person, you know, it used to be there in Asia a lot, even if you, or in the world's armies, you know, they used to march and they used to carry flags. The Romans used to carry a big standard with not exactly a flag, but they had the letters SPQR written above it, which meant the Senate and the people of Rome, Senatus Populus Quae Romanus. So that people would know they're the Romans. You know, people, you know, if you see the movies where they have the big battles, the ancient battles, there would always be, as well as people fighting, there would also be people carrying the flags of the particular armies to show which army was fighting which other army. You know, the American Civil War, they had the Union flag and they had the battle flag of the Republic and of the Southerners, and you could see who was on what side. Okay, so it's also said, O exalted Brahmanas, one who offers a yellow flag that is decorated with the symbol of Garuda, here it says here, Garuda Dwaja, right? So we have this statement in Venkateshwara Suprabhatam, the prayers that we wake up the deity every morning with, Kausalya Supraja Rama, Purva Sandhya Pravartate, Uttistanara Sadhula, Tatpadyam Devmanikam, Utista Govinda. Please wake up, Govinda. Utista Garuda Dwaja. So wake up, please wake up, O personality of Lord Vishnu, who has a flag with Garuda on it. So here, Utista Garuda Dwaja, Utista Kamalakanta, Trailokya Mangalam. Okay, so here we have the Garuda Dwaja being mentioned, and it's yellow flag with Garuda on it. A lot of times you'll see when they have festivals in Shiva and Vishnu temples, they hoist a flag at the flagpole. Every temple has a flagpole called a Dwaja Stamba. Stamba means a pole, Dwaja means a flag. And at the beginning of the festival, they do a ceremony called Dwaja Rohanam, where they raise the flag after worshipping Garuda on the flag. And then at the end of the festival, they bring down the flag, which is called Dwaja Avarohanam. So Arohanam and Avarohanam, up and down. So so then we have text 241. One should know for certain that the glorification of the merit of placing a flag on top of a temple that is mentioned in the various Vedic literatures can be attained by anyone. One should not have any doubt of this. So it's very auspicious to put a flag on top of a temple. So a lot of times we see, especially in North India, they have symbols like a chakra for Lord Vishnu or a trisula, a trident on top of a temple to show what type of temple it is. And there'll also be a flag. Many times there'll be a flag on a Hindu temple or a Vaishnava temple, and the flag will indicate what type of temple it is, like that. Now, it's very also important, some places like Jagannath Puri and even like Dwarka, you know, the temple of Lord Krishna in Dwarka, Dwarkanath Mandir, on the top, they have a big flag like that. So one should know for certain that the glorification of the merit of placing a flag on top of the temple that is mentioned in various Vedic literatures can be obtained by anyone. One should not have any doubt of this. So you can go to some of these places and you can pay some money to have a special flag put up there that you've offered to the deity. And that's you get a great benediction and a lot of highest credits for doing that. So next, it's stated in Bhavishya Purana. The word Bhavishya means what will be. So it's a lot of times it's about future events. So here it said, learned devotees should prepare a nice flag with a handle made of gold and offer it to Lord Vishnu. The color of the flag should be yellow, and it should be placed next to Garuda. Okay, so Vyanjanasya Mahatmyam, the glories of offering a fan. Fan is a Vyanjana. So talapatra means palm leaf fan. So we're talking here about a palm leaf fan. This is coming from Vishnu Dharmotara. So by offering, you can get these palm leaf fans, hand fans, which are made of palm leaves in South India. There are many Brahmins who will sit while they're reciting Vedas and things like that, and they'll fan themselves with the palm leaf fan. By offering a fan made of a palm leaf to the Lord, one can achieve great happiness. Okay. So, continuing on from the same literature, I believe we're still getting all these quotes from Vishnu Dharmotara. It says, Vitanasya, Vitana is a canopy. Canopy means a covering over the top of the Lord. So, it will be like a permanent umbrella over the top of the altar. So, the glories of offering a canopy. By offering a canopy to the Lord, one is relieved from all sinful reactions. Such a person will obtain immense happiness wherever he may be born. Text 245, the glories of offering a trident. Okay, so here it's saying you can offer a trident to the Lord. So now normally, we in the agamas, normally this trident is something which is offered to Shiva, not necessarily to Vishnu, but here it's saying we can also offer it to Lord Vishnu. It may or may not be appropriate to offer it to Krishna, I don't know, but here it's being mentioned, right? So one will never be defeated by his enemy if he offers a nice trident to Lord Vishnu. By offering a box for keeping the trident, one is awarded the merit of performing a sacrifice. So it's also stated in text 246 to 247, one who offers a spittoon. What's a spittoon? A spittoon is like a metal container like that, where the Lord, after eating the pan, after chewing the pan, he can spit out the pan. He can spit the leaves and the nuts that are still there. After he's got the taste out of them, he can spit those out of his mouth. So one who offers a spittoon to the Lord achieves auspiciousness. One will also be victorious by offering a mat for keeping the Lord's shoes. So the Lord is offered his shoes, and those shoes should be placed on a mat. So by providing a mirror for the Lord, the donor becomes attractive and prestigious. By cleaning the mirror before offering it, one attains good fortune. So we should always clean the mirror before we offer it to the Lord. Text 248. It is certain that no matter what one devotedly offers to Sri Vishnu, the Lord of the demigods, he will achieve unlimited benefit and become qualified to attain the heavenly planets. So text 249 from the Vamana Purana, there's a conversation between Prahlad, who speaks, Maharaj Prahlad or Bhakta Prahlad, who speaks to King Bali, who's his descendant, right? And he says, whatever one offers to Lord Janardana with faith and devotion will yield unending merit. This is the conclusion of learned personalities. Text 250, some people are of the opinion that at this point, one should offer flowers 3 times, which is again Pushpanjali. Here it says here, Datva means offering, right? Pushpanjali Trayam, three times offer a handful of flowers, or it could be tulsi, like that. And then display the 10 mudras, beginning with the Shankha mudra. So again, we offer these 10 mudras. I think that we discussed this before. There were certain mudras that were offered. I'm not sure if these are the same mudras. We probably would have to look in the... So So it doesn't really mention the 10 mudras, but it says that they begin with the Shankha mudra. So we can look back at the beginning of the external worship and see the Avahanadi mudras and the different mudras that we offered. I believe there were 17 mudras. And we can see probably after the Shankha mudra, there were 10 mudras, and then we can do those, because otherwise we'll have to figure out exactly what the 10 mudras are. We could also look in Gopalachana Padati and see if it's mentioned there. But it's not mentioned in the purport. It's not mentioned in the content, in the commentary by Sanatana Goswami exactly what they are. Maybe he's saying just go back to the beginning and see that. So now we have Ata Gita Vadya Nrityani. Okay, so Gita means singing. Vadya means playing musical instruments or making a sound, and Nrityani means dancing, right? So now we're going to talk about those activities that go on for the pleasure of the Lord. Thereafter, one should please Lord Krishna either by personally singing, dancing, and playing musical instruments, or by having others engage in this way. Now, here's some prohibitions about that, right? In text 252 to 254, it's again saying nishidam. Nishidam means, tatra means in that, ata means now, right? Now, in that, some prohibitions. Okay, so here we go. So when devotees are chanting and dancing, no one should watch while sitting down. When devotees are chanting and dancing, no one should watch while sitting down. Everybody should stand up. No one should stand before the deity or along with the dancing devotees, keeping his back to the deity or the devotees. That might be a little difficult, right? But at least we should try to keep not show our back to the deity. So if there's dancing going in front of the deity, the dancing should actually be facing the deity, which I think mostly we don't see. In some way, if the dancer can be at least side on to the deity, if there's a special dancer dancing. One should not walk through the assembled devotees in a disturbing manner. So, O foremost of kings, a person who watches a Vaishnava dancing in ecstatic love while sitting down will become a lame man in his subsequent births. Apart from devotees, those who obstruct the view of the deities or his devotees will next be born as animals. Okay, so now we have text 255 to 256, the glories of singing and dancing before the deities. From the Narasimha Purana, again, we have, now we sometimes it's called Narasimha Purana, sometimes it's called Nrisimha Purana. Okay, so it's probably the same text, but in case it's not, that would be interesting if somebody comes up with two different texts, but it's slightly different words in the title, Narasimha and Nrisimha. So, a person who daily, especially in the evening, sings, plays musical instruments, performs dramas, blows the conch, or plays drums, either himself or engages others to do so, becomes qualified to go anywhere he likes, take any form he likes, and enjoy the company of celestial women who are expert in the art of music. Such a devotee can freely travel from one planet to another while sitting on a celestial chariot. At the end of all this material enjoyment, he returns to the abode of Lord Vishnu. Continuing on with text 257 from the Skanda Purana, we have a conversation between Narada and Vishnu, right, that says, O sage, the pious soul who sings, plays musical instruments, dances, and enacts dramas while engaged in glorifying the name, the forms, the qualities, the pastimes of Lord Vishnu, surpasses the three worlds and ascends to the abode of the Lord, Vaikuntha. Another discussion in the Brihad Naradiya Purana between Yama and Bhagirata says, O king, hear now about the merit one achieves by chanting and dancing in the temple of the Supreme Lord. Such a devotee who becomes qualified to be installed as a king of the Gandharvas because of his singing, and as a king of the followers of Rudra because of his dancing. Can you understand? So the Gandharvas are famous for singing. They're angels that are famous for singing. So therefore, If you sing before the Lord, you get the benediction of being the king of the Gandharvas. If you dance in front of the Lord Shiva is famous for dancing. He's called Nataraja, or the king of the dance, right? Because of the dance that he did in Chidambaram. He engaged in the way that he got Parvati to marry him was to beat her in a dance competition, which occurred in Chidambaram in South India, where he showed 108 different dancing poses. He also dances at the time of the dissolution of the universe. So Shiva, anyway, Rudra is famous for dancing, and therefore we see this Nataraja is the iconic form of Shiva, right? Usually the metal iconic form of Shiva is called Nataraja, where you see him with one leg lifted up, he's dancing. So if one worships the Lord by dancing in front of the Lord, he can become the king of the followers of Rudra, which might mean that he becomes Rudra. He takes the position of Rudra. So because sometimes Rudra, Shiva, and Brahma, these are sometimes posts that different living entities get to take in this material world. So he not only delivers himself, but also 8 generations of his family. Text 260 to 261 from the Linga Purana, conversation between King Ambarish and Markandeya Rishi. Right? We have, O king, a learned person who devotedly makes arrangements for chanting and dancing in glorification of Lord Hari, especially in a holy place of pilgrimage or in a temple of the Lord, attains a noble birth, good intelligence and a sharp memory, and steadiness in devotional service to the Supreme Lord. There is no doubt that such a person will eventually go back to the abode of Lord Vishnu. One who gives up shyness and recites verses or sings in glorification of the Lord, or dances before the deity, ascends to my abode, along with 10 million generations of his family. 10 million generations is a lot. So, text 263, therefore it's also stated, right, one should spontaneously chant and dance before the deities while glorifying him with one's own words or verses compiled by a sage, by the sage Bharata. To please the Lord, one should spontaneously sing his glories and dance in ecstasy. That's the opinion of the sage Shonaka. Now, okay, so we can either glorify the Lord with our own words, or we can use different prayers that have come from different great personalities. Here, it said that Bharata is the person that we can take the prayers from. Bharate Nritya, it could also mean that type of style of dance, the style of dance is the Bharatanatyam, right? The Bharatanatyam, which is a particular type of classical dance, which is done in India. So there are different forms of classical dance in India. There's Bharatanatyam is the most famous one. Then we have Kuchipudi. We have Krishnanatham in Kerala. We have Yakshagana in Karnataka. We have in Andhra we have the Kuchipudi. We have Odissi in Orissa. Okay, these are different types of styles of dance, traditional styles of dance. Any of those styles are good, but here the most famous one, the most common one is the Bharatanatyam. Okay, so continuing on, text 264 in the Narada Purana, it says, "O Brahmana, it is the duty of all devotees to sing about the Lord, perform dramatic dramas depicting his pastimes, and dance before the deity of Lord Vishnu for his satisfaction." Right? In the Shmiti literature, it's mentioned that for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord and his devotees, one should sing and the glories of the Lord and dance in a joyful mood. However, one should never do this implying simply for the purpose of earning a livelihood. So a person who does so incurs sin. So if you're just singing and dancing, if you're a professional singer and dancer, and you're doing this for a livelihood, then that's considered sinful. So sometimes we have these people who are professional kirtaniyas or professional dancers like that. If they do that in front of the deity, if they're professionals, that is considered sinful. Okay. So here we go. We exalted devotees. It doesn't mean that if somebody's a professional dancer or singer that he can't come and also sing for the deity, right? But what it means is that we should not only engage professional dancers and singers for worshiping of the deity. Yeah. So exalted devotees have always recommended chanting and dancing before the deities because it is very pleasing to Lord Krishna. It is especially recommended to chant and dance before the deities on Ekadasi. And here it's mentioned here. So do we have the word Ekadasi actually in the verse? Harivasari. The word Harivasari means a day, a holy day of Lord Hari. Specifically, Harivasara usually means Ekadasi. Can be translated as Ekadasi. Okay. And Harivasara has another meaning. The word vasati in Sanskrit means to dwell or to live with. So Harivasara means the day where we live closer to God. We feel closer to God. We try to be closer to God. So text 267, therefore it's also said, does not a person who fails to chant and dance before Lord Keshava, especially on auspicious days such as Ekadasi, become burned in a fire, or else later on enter hell? One must surely sing and dance before Lord Keshava for his pleasure. So here it's mentioned, Nritya Geetam, singing and dancing and singing. Keshavagri means right in front of Lord Keshava, right? Hari Dine is the same thing as Hari Vasare, the day of the Lord. Vasara means day, right? Vasati also means to dwell. So anyway, so here we have text 268, the specific glories of singing before the Lord. Here's a Mahatmyam, right? Visheshato, the special glory. It's either the special glories or the special or the Mahatmyam of special psalms. So, in a conversation between Markandeya Rishi and King Indradyumna, which was recorded in the Dwarka Mahatmyam, the glories of the city of Dwarka, which I believe we are also talking about Skanda Purana here, right? One who satisfies Lord Krishna by singing his glories for his pleasure undoubtedly receives the merit of studying all Vedic literatures. In the Skanda Purana conversation, Mahadeva, meaning Lord Shiva, says, by chanting mantras, one achieves 10 million times the benefit derived from studying the Vedas. By offering food to the Lord, one receives the merit of chanting 10 million mantras, right? So you get certain amount of benefit by chanting mantras, by doing japam of mantras, japa meditation, or japa can be done in the mind, or it can be done softly, or it can be out loud also, like that. So it can be manasika, vachika, or upamamsu, or vachika. Yes. So by offering food, one receives the merit of chanting 10 million mantras, right? So people who just study the Vedas, they get millions of times more benefit by chanting the mantras, to the Lord. By offering food, one gets much more merit than chanting the mantras. Singing the Lord's glories is equal to offering food 10 million times. So he's making a distinction here between chanting mantras, right, in japam, and singing songs or singing the holy name of the Lord, right? Singing the Lord's glories is equal to offering food to the Lord 10 million times. So even greater than studying the Vedas, even greater than chanting mantras. Therefore, there is nothing equal to singing the glories of the Lord, the Lord's glories. So, in the Kashi Kanda, probably also of Skanda Purana, right, is the glories of Kashi or Benares, right? The Vishnu Dutas, or the servants of Lord Vishnu, right, are having a conversation with someone called Shiva Sharma. Shiva Sharma. The word Sharma indicates the person is a Brahmin usually. There are different names that are appended to the different castes' names. So if somebody was a Brahmin, he would be such and such Sharma. If he's a Kshatriya, he'll be such and such Varma. If he's a Vaishya, he'll be such and such Gupta. And if he's a Sudra, he'll be such and such Dasa, meaning servant. So these are different caste names. Shiva Sharma, a Brahmin. So, glorification of Lord Hari and his devotees headed by Shiva awards one either liberation or association with Lord Hari or Lord Shiva. Okay. So here it's interesting because it says Srimad, it says Geetam Kvachat Geetam, it means singing glorification. Srimad Dhari means Hari, and Hara Ankitam. So either Hari or Hara. Hari Hara, right? Moksham Pala. Okay, so glorification of Lord Hari or his devotees headed by Lord Shiva awards one either liberation or the association of Lord Hari or Lord Shiva. They say Vaishnava Mahasambhu, that Shiva is supposed to be one of the Mahajans, one of the 12 Mahajans, great devotee of the Lord. He whispers the Rama mantra, the Rama Taraka mantra, Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama, into people's ears when they die in Kashi. So it's important here, this is coming from Kashi Kanda. So this is a particular statement that has to do with Kashi, right? That people will get liberation, or they'll get the association of Lord Hari or Lord Shiva, either in Vishnu Loka or I guess Mahesh Dham, Shiva Loka. So text 271 from the Vishnu Dharma, the Supreme Lord says, if your heart is attracted by melodious songs, then simply engage your mind in thinking of me, hearing about me, and singing songs in glorification of my pastimes, such as the Rasa Lila or in the association of devotees. Okay, nice. So, text 272, from the Hari Bhakti Sudodaya, it's stated, a devotee who is accustomed to loudly chanting the glories of the Supreme Lord certainly becomes qualified to destroy the sinful reactions of all the people of this world. Doesn't one's house become illuminated by sunlight, even if there is a lack of artificial light? So it's giving an example here, an analogy, that even if you don't have your lights on, but in the daytime, the house is completely filled with sunlight through the windows. So it's important to, in a similar way, the chanting of the glories of the Lord, right, will destroy the reactions of all the people in the world. Just by a devotee chanting, he's destroying other people's sinful reactions because they hear it. Because part of Bhakti Yoga is Shravanam, Kirtanam. So Kirtanam occurs, then other people hear. When we chant the names of the Lord, then other people hear and they also become purified. We become purified and they become purified also. Text 273, the tears of love that are shed by the devotees when they sing the glories of the Lord in choked voices because of the emotion that involves chanting his Lord. And because we shouldn't just chant like a parrot, that we should also know what we're chanting. We should know the meaning of the mantras. We should know the meaning of the songs, the meaning of the stotras that we chant. And therefore, our voices are choked up while we're trying to chant them. We're thinking of the glorious meaning, and therefore our voices choke up. So, the tears of love, and we shed tears of love that are shed by devotees who sing the glories of the Lord in choked voices, nullifies their sinful reactions and awards them the merit of being born in all the holy places. Text 274 to 276 from Varaha Purana, it mentions, "O beautiful lady," this is probably Shiva talking to Parvati usually, or it could be Vishnu talking to Lakshmi. "O beautiful lady, if a Brahmana sings songs in glorification of Lord Vasudeva, having properly mastered the art of musical composition, he certainly attains the abode of Kuvera. Kuvera is the god of wealth, where he enjoys life for 9,900 celestial years." Okay. I wonder why it's not 10,000, 9,900. Okay. There might be a reason for that. I'm not sure. It says, Nava Varsha Sahasrani, Nava Varsha Satani Cha. So it means 9,900. 9,900 celestial years. Thereafter, according to his will, he wanders over the world and ultimately achieves devotional service to me. Text 277. Among all the prescribed duties of human society and among all types of sadhana prescribed for the worship of the Supreme Lord, singing the glories of the Lord has been ascertained as the foremost. The knowledge, influence, and glory of a person who worships Lord Vishnu by singing his glories gradually increase. Being pleased with such a devotee, the Lord awards him a place in his abode. Text 278 to 279, it's also said, O foremost of sages, I have already described to you how the great sage Narada had learned the art of music. If Brahmanas always engage themselves in singing the glories of Lord Vasudeva, they will attain the liberation of remaining with the Lord in his abode. They may also receive the chance to become even more expert in the art of music than Rudra. By chanting and dancing before Lord Vishnu, thus utilizing one's body, mind, and words, one certainly attains his lotus feet. Therefore, it must be concluded that for attaining the shelter of the Supreme Lord, singing his glories is the principal means. That's a very nice quote. So, text 280. From the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Narada says, the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, whose glories and activities are pleasing to hear, at once appears on the seat of my heart, as if called for, as soon as I begin to chant his holy activities. Right? So this is another reason why we chant different mantras. In the beginning of meditation, of any type of meditation, we do what's called a dhyana sloka, or there can be more than one, meditation on the Lord, and we chant that out loud, and we meditate on the meaning, and the Lord appears within our heart in that form. Of course, the Lord is always there in our heart as the Paramatma, as the super soul, but he appears in that particular form that we want to see him, that we want to worship him in, like that, because of our chanting of the particular dhyana mantra. So here, text 281 to 282 from the 12th canto, right? So it's very interesting here that what Sanatana Goswami is doing here, or Gopal Bhatta Goswami is doing here, is he's taking first of all from the first canto, and then from the last canto. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to show that the whole Bhagavatam is about this. The whole Bhagavatam is about chanting the glories of the Lord and remembering the Lord. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. And therefore, from the very beginning, from the first canto to the end, to the 12th canto, this message is the same. The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, whose glories and activities are pleasing to hear, at once appears on the seat of my heart as if called for, as soon as I begin to chant his holy activities. That's from the first canto. And now from the last canto, we have Suta Goswami saying, right, words that do not describe the transcendental personality of Godhead, but instead describe the temporary matters in this world are simply false and useless. Only those words that manifest the transcendental qualities of the Supreme Lord are actually truthful, auspicious, and pious. Those words describing the glories of the all-famous personality of Godhead are attractive, relishable, and ever fresh. Indeed, such words are a perpetual festival for the mind, and they dry up the ocean of misery. So, text 283, again from Vishnu Dharmottara, right? We have the statement, O pious living entities, those who worship the Supreme Lord by arranging for singing and dancing will receive the opportunity to play music with the Gandharvas, right? The greatest musicians, the greatest singers, right, are the Gandharvas, right? So if you start doing this in front of the Lord, you will get that opportunity to sing and dance and play musical instruments with the Gandharvas. One who worships Lord Vishnu by personally singing his glories becomes an eternal associate of the Lord. In fact, the Lord says, wherever my glories are being chanted, that's where I am. I will be there where my devotees are. Text 284 to 285 from the Padma Purana, from the section on Kartik, the glorification of the month of Kartik, October, November. There's a conversation between Sri Krishna and Satyabhama, his queen, in Dwarka. Okay, so says, this is spoken by Narada. So he's speaking to Narada. O Narada, I do not reside in my abode. This is the verse that I was talking to you about, right? He says, Naham vasami, vasami, to dwell. See, I dwell, right? Naham, I do not dwell. Na means not. So aham means I. Naham vasami vaikunte. I do not reside in Vaikuntha. So Lord Krishna is saying this. He's saying, I don't reside in Vaikuntha, right? Normally we think the Supreme Lord's in Vaikuntha. This is, of course, Shastric hyperbole. The Lord is there in Vaikuntha, for sure. He's in all these places. But just to emphasize that he's with his devotees more, he's more interested in being with his devotees to glorify him. He says these things. So he says, Naham vasami. This is such an important verse, such a very, very well-known verse. Naham vasami vaikunte. I don't reside in Vaikuntha. Na yogi hridayeshu va. Or in the hearts of the yogis. I don't reside there. Mad bhakta yatra gayanti. Wherever gayanti, they chant, my devotees chant, right? Tatra tishtami narada. That's where I stand. I'm right there, where they are, right? Tatra tishtami narada. This is a very famous verse, very, very famous verse. Tesham pujadikam dhanda padyadhai kriyate haraihi tena pritim param yami natata mat pujanat, right? O Narada, I do not reside in my abode Vaikuntha, nor do I live within the hearts of the yogis. I always reside where my devotees sing my glories, right? I do not become as pleased by being worshipped, right? By being worshipped with sandalwood paste and padya, water for washing the feet, etc., with all these different upacharas, right? I do not become as pleased by being worshipped as I do by the worship of my devotees, as I do by the worship of my devotees with offerings of padya, agya, and sandalwood paste, right? So I don't feel as pleased by being worshipped as I do by being worshipped by my devotees. So the first sloka is much more important than the second sloka, and much more famous. Naham vasami vaikunte, na yogi hridayeshu va, mad bhakta yatra gayanti tatra tishtami narada. Okay, so continuing on with text 286. Ata evoktam. Therefore it is said, because the Brahmanas are qualified to worship the Supreme Lord, they are addressed as the servants of Vishnu by the compilers of the scriptures. It is therefore said that a Brahmana will always become pleased by singing of the Lord's glories. Right. So Brahmana should always be pleased with this. Right. This is an interesting statement here. And in the beginning of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, there were some Brahmanas, some caste Brahmanas, or specifically the smarta Brahmanas, those who were reading the Smritis very closely and following the Smritis 100%, Smriti Shastras, which have some rules and regulations in the Smriti Shastras are not followed by Vaishnavas. So there were some Brahmanas who were criticizing that the glories of the Lord, specifically mantras glorifying the Lord, which are considered sometimes to be secret, should not be spoken outwardly, should not be chanted, or should not be prayed, should be loudly spoken. But here we're saying, here this is in exact opposite to that. What is being said here is that the Brahmanas are the real Vaishnavas, right? Or in other words, Brahmanas and Vaishnavas are equal. The Vaishnavas are just like the Brahmanas. They are interested in God. They're interested in Brahman, the Supreme Spirit, right? So they are the ones who are qualified to worship the Lord, the devotees of the Lord. They are addressed as the servants of the Lord, as Vishnu Dasa, as Krishna Dasa, like that, by the compiler of the scriptures. It is therefore said that the Brahmana, or the devotee, or the Vaishnava, who always becomes pleased, will always become pleased by singing the glories of the Lord. So the singing of the glories of the Lord please the Vaishnavas because they know that Lord Vishnu is pleased. So that if Lord Vishnu is pleased by something, then we become pleased also. His servants become pleased also. Text 287. So, Atan Rityasya Mahatmam, the glories of dancing before the Lord. So now we've talked about singing, we've talked about chanting mantras and singing and playing musical instruments. Now we're going to talk about dancing. So in the Dwarka Mahatmyam, it may also be from Skanda Purana or it may be from some other Purana, but anyway, it's the glories of Dwarka, city of Dwarka. It's mentioned, for a person who dances in ecstasy before the deities in a mood of pure devotion, all of his sinful reactions that were accumulated in hundreds of previous lifetimes become immediately burnt to ashes. Hari Bhakti Sudodaya tells us, when a devotee of Lord Vishnu joyfully dances, the earth becomes purified by the touch of his feet. The four directions become purified by the sight of him, and the heavenly planets become purified by his raised hands. So he's raising his hands in the dancing. Text 289 to 290 from the Vraha Purana, it mentions that, "O beautiful lady, one who dances before the deity in the way that is prescribed in the literature spoken of by the sage Bharat," which means what? Bharat Natyam. Is it mentioned here in the Sanskrit? So one who does the Bharat Natyam type of dance in front of the deities, right, is next born in Pushkara Dweep, where he enjoys life for 3,300 years. Interesting, right? 3,300 years, right? Thereafter, he falls down from that position. He will wander the earth according to his free will before ultimately returning to my abode in the spiritual sky as a result of his fixed devotion for me. Text 291. Again from the Vishnu Dharmodra, it says, by arranging a dance program for the glorification of the Lord, one undoubtedly attains the abode of Rudra. If a devotee personally dances before the deities, he will become one of the Lord's associates. Now, elsewhere, Narada Muni, the sage Narada, says, for those who repeatedly dance before the deity of the husband of Lakshmi while clapping their hands, all the birds of sinful reactions fly away from their bodies. So just clapping our hands together to the music, right, which is a type of musical instrument, the hand clap, right, then that all our sins fly away. The reactions to all our sins fly away. Now we have Ata Vadasya Mahatmya, the glories of playing that. It literally means making a sound, but here it's being translated as playing musical instruments. In South India, there's a type of musical instruments. There are 5 musical instruments which are played: drums, horns, kartals. There's a few different types. There are 5 of them, 5 different ones, which are played all at the same time in different temples. That is called Panchabhadyam. It's very interesting music. If anybody wants it, a copy of Panchabhadyam music from South Indian temples, or especially in Kerala, it's performed. Kerala and southern Karnataka. Dakshina Kannada, part of Karnataka, which is across the Western Ghats from the rest of the Deccan Plateau. Okay, so where Udupi is and Mangalore and those places, and going all the way down the coast, down to basically from Goa down through Gokarna down to all the way to Kerala and Trivandrum. Okay, so in that area, the Panchabhadyam music is played. So if anybody wants this Panchabhadyam temple music, they can get in touch with me and I can give them some. It's nice to play in the temple. So Sangita Shastra. So the Sangita Shastra is the Shastra which deals, the scripture that deals with singing, dancing, and playing musical instruments. Specifically singing and playing musical instruments, Sangita. Yeah. Not specifically dancing. There's another Shastra for that, which was mentioned, the Bharatanatyam, which was written by Bharata. So one who is expert in playing a stringed instrument, who has great knowledge of the subjects described in the Shruti and Jati, right? In Shruti and Jati, I don't know what that is exactly, but obviously parts of the Sangita Shastra, who is expert with playing various musical compositions, can easily glorify Lord Vishnu, the Master of Liberation. And further on in the Vishnu Dharmottara, text 294 to 295, it says, if a Brahmana arranges for a musical performance at the time of worshipping Lord Vishnu in the temple, he will attain the position of Indra. If he personally takes part in the performance while the worship of the Lord is in progress, he will become an associate of the Lord. Among all types of musical instruments, the sound of the tantri is very pleasing to the Lord. Those who worship the Lord by playing the tantri will be transferred to the abode of Ganapati. So apparently Ganapati has his own abode, or Ganesh has his own abode, and by playing the tantri. Now, if we just have a look quickly at the Sanskrit dictionary and see what the word tantri is, see if we can find it. T-A-N-T-R-I, okay. Tantri, and we could not find that. Maybe we'll find it by putting the Amishwara there. No, I cannot find. Okay. Nope. I don't know exactly what a tantri is, but maybe it's a musical, maybe it's a stringed instrument. I'm not sure. Okay. So now we're going to talk about Purna Puja, right? So doing puja again. So offering of worship once again, if one is able to do so. Now, up until now, we've done a whole offering of worship. So what it says here is, thereafter, if one is able to, he should once again worship Sri Krishna and his associates by offering them flowers and sandalwood paste while chanting the Mula mantras. So what we do is this is performed by saying idam sarvam, or sarvopachara pujam samarpayami, right? We can either say idam sarvam, Krim Krishna Govindaya Gopijana Vallabhaya Swaha, or we can say Krim Krishna Govindaya Gopijana Vallabhaya Swaha, sarvopachara pujam samarpayami. And we can again in our mind offer all of the items of worship again, simply by offering a flower dipped in sandalwood paste and say the Mula mantra, like that. So here it's mentioned Mulena with the Mula mantra here, and it says here Panchopachari. So we should do with flower petals. We should offer. I don't agree with the translation here. It actually says that we should worship the Parivar, the family of Krishna, meaning the Shaktis, his consorts and his family, right, of Krishna, with Ganda and all Ganda, etc., which means Panchopachara. Panchopachara is mentioned here. Panchopachara is Ganda, Pushpa, Dhupa, Deepa, and Naivedya. All these 5 things should be offered. So Ganda means sandalwood paste, Pushpa means flowers, Ganda Pushpa, Dhupa means incense, Deepa means a lamp, and Naivedya means a food offering. We already offered the food to Lord Krishna. We can now offer it to the Parivaras, the rest of his family, or his consorts and associates. And so we should do this Pancha Puja. So Pancha Puja, normally, Smartas do this a lot. They do Pancha Puja at the end of, after they've done another puja, then they perform Pancha Puja. And it can be done in a very simple way with hand mudras and meditation. And as I said here, with some sandalwood paste and flower petals or flowers, along with the Mula mantras. Right, so after this is finished, we're going to perform what's called Nirajanam. Nirajanam means arati, or offering of a lamp. Nirajanam. It can be Kapura Nirajanam, or it can be, so camphor lamp, or it can be a simple, many times it's a camphor lamp, which is offered at this point in South India, right at the end. Or it can be also an oil lamp or a ghee lamp. So in any case, it's a lamp, right? To show the Lord, we get to see the Lord gets to see us with the lamp. So here it's mentioned, offering a grand arti, Maha Mangalarti. This is usually called in South India, Maha Mangalarti. After one, or it's simply called Nirajanam. Okay, so afterwards, one should offer flowers to the deities 3 times while chanting the Mula mantra. Again, the Mula mantra is the Gopal mantra here. And then perform a grand arti accompanied by the singing and playing of musical instruments. For the articles to be offered, it is best to use a plate made of gold. If possible, the ghee lamp should also be made of gold, and the ghee wicks should be covered with camphor. Right. So kapurena Ritena va. Actually, the word va here is or, right? Or. So I disagree again with the translation here that the ghee lamp is covered with camphor, right? It is either camphor or ghee. The word va is used. It means or. Aratrikam. In arti, we either offer camphor or we offer ghee lamp. Right, an oil lamp, oil lamp in South India, they use gingerly oil, sesame oil sometimes, or ghee. Okay, so if possible, a ghee lamp should be made of gold, etc. There should be an odd number of wicks. Okay, that's understood. If it's a ghee lamp, there should be an odd number of wicks, either 1 or 3 or 5 or 7, like this. So now we have the glories of offering this grand arti, this Mahamangalarti, this Nirajana of the Lord. And from the Skanda Purana, this conversation between Brahma and Narada on this point. A person who offers arti to Lord Keshava with a nice lamp having many ghee wicks will reside in the heavenly planets for 10 million kalpas. Text 300. O foremost of sages, one who devotedly offers a ghee lamp with camphor, kapurena, could just be with camphor, right? And not ghee, right? To the head of Lord Keshava is qualified to become an associate of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. And elsewhere it is said in text 301, O king, one who worships Lord Krishna with a ghee lamp, with whose wicks are covered with camphor, resides in his abode for 7 kalpas. Dipti mantam sakapuram. Here it's just talking about, okay, Dipti mantam sakapuram. Okay, so we have a lamp with camphor. Right, so text 302, in the conversation between Shiva and Parvati in Skanda Purana, it says, right, O Parvati, simply by offering arti to the Supreme Lord, even if one's worship is performed without the chanting of mantras and performance of other rituals, it becomes perfect and complete, right? So actually this mantra sounds like what we call a Shabashwapana mantra. After we offer this arti, we should pray for the forgiveness of any offenses that we committed while performing the seva or offering the different upacharas or pujas by performing the service. So mantrahinam kriyahinam yakritam pujanam hare sarvam sampurnatam eti krite nirajane shive. So this is a verse. This can be used as a prayer for forgiveness of offenses. Okay, so now we have text 303 coming from Hari Bhakti Suradaya. Again, lust, anger, and pride that are born of ignorance, as well as one's material entanglement, are destroyed simply by worshipping Lord Vishnu with a beautiful ghee lamp. Text 304, and elsewhere it is said, right, just by seeing Lord Vishnu's face, which looks very bright and beautiful at the time of arti, all of one's sins, even the killing of millions of brahmanas and having sexual relations with degraded women are burnt to ashes. Text 305, the glories of offering a ghee lamp after offering dhupa, incense, right, as mentioned earlier, are also applicable to the offering of the ghee lamp during the grand arti ceremony. So, text 306, therefore, all the devotees should stand up and very respectfully take darshan of the ghee lamp and offer prayers to it in the manner previously described. So people take the prasadam of the ghee lamp, and they offer prayers to the ghee lamp, and they offer respects to the ghee lamp, because the ghee lamp is now the prasadam of the Lord, having been offered in the Mahanirajana, in the great arti to the Lord. Right. So later on in Vishnu Dharma, it's mentioned that Taruktam Pulastya, the sage Pulastya talks in Vishnu Dharmottara again, by taking darshan of both dhupa and deepa, meaning the incense and the lamp, and offering prayers with folded hands as they are being offered to the Supreme Lord, 10 million generations of one's family are awarded liberation so that they can return back to Godhead. Text 308 from the Agamas, or Mula Agama, and specifically from the Agama called Mula Agama. I'm not sure what that means exactly. It might be a Mula Agama, or it might be the name of a particular very basic Agama. One who watches the arti ceremony of the Lord of the demigods, who holds a chakra in his hand, right, will be born as a Brahmana in his next 7 births, and then will return to the supreme abode of the Lord. Text 39, the glories of blowing the conch. So we have the Ata Shankadi Vadana, Shankadi Vadana Mahatmyam. Okay. So in the Brihad Naradiya Purana, a conversation between Bhagirati and Yamaraja, says, O king, anyone who blows a conch in the temple of Lord Keshava is relieved of all sinful reactions, so that after death he will go to reside in the abode of the Supreme Lord. Text 310. Those who clap their hands in the temple of Lord Keshava are liberated from all sins and thereafter enjoy life while being carried in celestial chariots for a period of 2 millenniums. Text 311 to 312, it says, O king, please hear now about the benefit one achieves by playing a gong or kartalas, right, in the temple of Lord Vishnu. Kartalas are hand symbols, such a person becomes freed from all sinful reactions and then enjoys life in the association of Lord Vishnu while boarding hundreds of celestial airplanes. At that time, the Gandharvas sing of his glories. Text 313 to 314. Now I will tell you about the benefit one attains by playing mridangas, which is a type of drum, right, other large drums and flutes, thereby pleasing the Lord of the demigods, Sri Vishnu. Such a person attains the planet of the demigods and enjoys life there in the company of hundreds of celestial women. Indeed, he remains in the heavenly planet for 5 kalpas, right? So now it's mentioning, right, the offering of water in a conch shell, right, which is done nirajanam, offering water in a conch shell. This is a type of nirajanam also. Nirajanam simply means to wave things before the Lord. Nirajanam usually means offering a lamp, but here we have Shankha Nirajanam, Sajala Shankha Nirajanam. So now we're going to talk about offering a small conch shell full of water to the Lord. And this is a symbolic of his bath, a symbolic bath. Therefore, thereafter, one should take a small conch shell. So we did that. We offered the incense, we offered the lamps, and now we're offering the conch shell filled with water and offer it to the Lord by waving it in 3 circles above his head. The 3 circles represent offering water onto the head of the Lord 3 times, like a bath, offering 3 times. Whenever we do things, we normally do them in 3 times, just as for emphasis, like that. So text 316, now the glories of doing that, of offering the water conch, right, is given in the Dwarka Mahatmyam, also probably in Skanda Purana. One who offers a conch shell filled with water by waving it in circles above the Lord's head will reside in the abode of Lord Vishnu in the ocean of milk for the period of 1 kalpa. Text 317, some people offer arti to the Lord after offering tambula, the betel nuts, which we offered right after offering the food. After the food offering, we offer the mouth freshener, the mukhavasa or the tambula, the pan, right? While other people offer arti to the Lord after showing him the mirror, right? So there's two alternatives here. Either offer arti after you offer the betel nut or the tambulam or the mukhavasa, or you can also offer it after you offer the mirror. Now, in Narada Pancharatra, it's stated in 318 to 319, after offering Achamani a second time to the Lord, washing his hands, I'm sure, right? And giving betel nuts or with camphor to the Lord, right? Camphor, fragrant betel nuts. One should offer arti. Learned devotees should also offer a mirror to the Lord after decorating him with ornaments. Similarly, in the Garuda Purana, text 320 to 321, it says, after offering of food, one should offer water mixed with camphor, and it should be followed by an offering of betel nuts, sandalwood paste, and flowers. Then one should reverently show a mirror to the Lord. If one has the means, he should then offer a lamp with camphor. From the Vayu Purana, it next says, in 322, if while offering arti, the lamp becomes very dim due to a lack of ghee, and then one can extinguish it, prepare a fresh lamp, and then continue the worship. There is no fault in extinguishing such a lamp, although this was prohibited earlier, right? So if you're offering a lamp and the lamp runs out of ghee, then you can put it out and you can prepare a fresh lamp and continue the worship by offering that. Best thing to do is to check your lamps before you offer them and make sure there's sufficient ghee or oil. So In the Dwarka Mahatmya continues on to say in text 323, a person who, after completing his worship, offers a ghee lamp to Lord Krishna's head during arti, will certainly become eligible to enjoy life as one of the Lord's associates. Text 324. Some devotees like to offer obeisances to the Lord after arti, followed by circumambulation of the deities, offering prayers to the Lord and continuously chanting and dancing. Text 325 to 326. In this way, according to one's particular sampradaya, and again here, he's emphasizing swa, meaning our own, sampradaya anusarataha. Anusarataha means following swa sampradaya, following our sampradaya, whichever tradition you follow, right? Vaishnavas should worship the Lord with love and devotion, because anything done with devotion becomes perfect and complete. You can look back in the Bhagavad Gita in the 9th chapter and 32nd verse, which says, Patram pushpam palam toyam, that offer to me a fruit of flower, leaf, and some water, and I will accept it. But it should be patram pushpam palam toyam, yome bhaktya prayashiti, tadaham bhakti upakrityam. With bhakti. If you offer it to me with bhakti, I'll accept it. So this is most important, that all of these offerings of all of these different services that we've done to the external deity of the Lord, right, we have to do with love and devotion. And even when we do it internally, whenever we're worshiping the Lord, we have to do everything with love and devotion. Then it becomes perfect and complete. Thereafter, one should offer flowers to the head of the Lord 3 times, right, and begin to offer him very nice prayers. Begin to offer him very nice prayers. So we've finished the ritualistic puja, except for we're going to offer prayers at the end. So I think this is a very good place to stop here, right? If there's any questions about singing, playing musical instruments, dancing, or any of the ending portions of the external worship, before we get to the very last item, which is offering prayers, and it does mention that about paying obeisances, circumambulating, doing different things like that. It'll also be mentioned some more, but we specifically here are talking now, we're going to be talking about in the next portion of Hari Bhakti Vilasa about offering different prayers, different types of prayers to the Lord.